Now we're getting into how to fulfill for your first client. In this section, we're going to go over how to manage and rate, how to manage, improve, and retain your clients to make sure that they get the best results possible. Now, one thing I want to mention here, I accidentally made a mistake in the conversational AI section, which I want to just show you quickly. Now, if you're going to be connecting under the bot section here, yours will obviously be on. Click edit, change the bot training, or is it brand voice, or I think it might be bot settings. So here, you see how it is connected to Instagram, Facebook, SMS, chat widget. If your client has an Instagram or a Facebook connected, I would strongly recommend that you exit out of these. The reason I say that is because I had this bot connected on my personal Instagram and it was spamming the hell out of them. So just get rid of it. It's not going to be fully aligned because they're going to have other leads coming from other sources. So just make sure that it's strictly, for the most part, SMS. That's all it really needs to be. And then you can click save. Okay. So the 4 pillars of client fulfillment. Now, our fulfillment system is built on 4 core pillars, which you should already know about by now based on how we're going to be fulfilling for our clients. Now, the first thing is we've got to generate the leads, which is what we run the ads for. The second piece is we book the appointments, and we track this by a metric called appointment booking rate percentage, or ABR. Then we've got to get those appointments to show up, which is show up rate, SUR, and then we close the sales, which is completely in the client's control, which is the 2 metrics that we track here are close rate, meaning the percentage of people that your client has who shows up, or that they go and conduct a free estimate for them that actually convert onto a project or onto a treatment plan or whatever the hell it is that they're actually selling in the long run. And then we have upfront cash. Now, all this is the percentage amount that your client collects upfront of the total project price. So for example, if I just do the math on this here, and this is important because we want to make sure that our clients are collecting as much money upfront as possible. If they're in an industry like real estate or even remodeling as an example, where the sales cycle is quite long, sometimes it can take your client anywhere from a month, 2 months, 3 months, even longer than that to close a project. And the longer it takes your client to start seeing money coming in from the amount that they've paid you, the higher the likelihood of them leaving. Okay, so it's very, very important that we optimize and at least help our clients with those things as well. Now, upfront cash, just so you know what I mean by that. Let's say your client was selling a 10K product. Now, you know what? I'll give you a medical spa example because that's one that probably a lot of people are going to understand. We run an initial $300 offer to get somebody in with a consultation and skin tightening initial treatment, right? Now, after that, the next step is our client then upsells them on, say, a $3,000 skin transformation treatment plan. Now, if that client has a 50% upfront cash collection rate, that means on average per patient that comes in and closes on the $3,000 skin transformation treatment plan, she's collecting an average of $1,500 upfront per person that closes. And again, we want to optimize for the highest possible upfront cash collected rate for you, for your agency when you sign a new client, which is when you can start moving to like paid in fulls and things like that. And also for your clients as well, because if your clients can collect as much money upfront, it means the gap between when they pay you and when they make an ROI, a return on investment, is going to be closed, or it's going to be closer. And the sooner you can get your client making money and making a return on investment, the longer they're going to stay with you, the more money they're going to make you. Okay. Now, the goal as you fulfill for these clients, now you understand the 4 things that get your clients results. It's very simple. We get them leads, we get those leads to book, we get those leads that book to show, we get those leads who show to close. The further along the acquisition process, the less control we have. We have full control over generating the leads, partial control over booking the appointments, which is why I'm going to recommend to you, which is why I would always recommend that even you step in and call your clients' leads as well initially to learn the process, figure it out, and actually get good at calling your clients' leads. So you can then build out and develop either an AI voice agent that can call your clients' leads, or you can build out a full stack call center. We're using a mix of both in our agency right now, okay? But again, the purpose of this video is not that. The purpose of this video is to get your first 1 to 5 clients, which you don't need a call center, and you certainly don't need to call the leads in order to do that, okay? So your goal as you fulfill for the client is to determine what your targets are for the first 2, which are the main 2 that you control: how many leads you get and how many bookings you get. For example, after running ads for several years in the medical industry, I know that our target is $12 per lead, which means if my client spends $1,500 a month, I want to get them on average, if I just move my recording thing here, I am aiming for getting them a minimum of 125 leads, because if they spend $1,500 and their cost per lead, their cost it takes to actually generate a lead in the first place is $12, then I know that they're going to get 125 leads, okay? So then, once you've established what your target is in your industry, now what you can also do is you can lean on other people in the industry as well. And if you know anybody in your industry, ask them like, hey, what's a good cost per lead in this industry. Like, we had a couple of people in our launch and land program who recently started up their own agency. Obviously, there's a lot of people in there that are just starting out, that are like the 0 to 10K. And they came on and they were like, hey, I'm in this industry. What's the average cost per lead? And there was already another guy doing like 50K a month in there who could just tell him, hey, here's the average cost per lead, here's the ad you should run, here's the ad copy, etc., etc. That would be a prime example. So if you know anybody like that, go to them and ask them. The other option is you just run the ad yourself and you can then figure out what that baseline is. The way that you do that is once you get 2, 3, 4 clients, you can start comparing the data and see like, okay, this client's getting a really good cost per lead, this one's getting a bad cost per lead, and then so on and so forth. You can determine what the average is and what is good and what is classified as bad. Now, the cool thing about this is once you've got like 3 or 4 clients and you've determined what like a good cost per lead is and a bad cost per lead is, then you know if cost per lead is a problem, you know what levers you can pull to solve that problem. So I want to give you an example of this, but before I do, I want to preface this by saying this may confuse you a little bit, and that's okay. Because first off, you've already made so much progress. You're literally at a point where you know how to onboard. You're now going through how to actually fulfill. Fulfilling for clients is really easy because there's only 4 things that we need to do to get clients results. Again, leads, booking, shows, closes. That's it. Nothing more, nothing less. And the cool thing is with the model that we're running here, the only thing that you really control is leads and bookings, and it kind of shows. Closes is up to the client. And we can, like later down the line, you can build out a training program for them and things like that, but you don't need that yet. Okay. So for us, for example, we have this document internally where we can basically establish, like you can see here, if lead generation is a problem, we have a benchmark of like our cost per lead should be less than $12 and a $14 maximum. So if I just go to an example client account here, you can see this client in this case is running 3 different campaigns. And I just go, say, last 7 days, I can see cost per lead $13, $16, $12. The $13 to $14 I'm not as worried about, even though it is still pretty high. But the $16.78 one is the one that I'm concerned about. So in this case, I can then go into that campaign and I can see like, okay, why is this campaign so high? And a lot of the time, the cool thing is about when your cost per lead is high, a lot of the time it's literally just a case of turning off underperforming ads and doubling down on the best performing ads. So we can see here, we've got like 6 different ads live, right? And I can see in terms of budget, if we go here, yeah, I can see in terms of spend, leads. So I can see this one has spent the most, but it's actually getting a $20 cost per lead. So I can just turn this one off. I can see this one's had 5 leads at a $6.91 lead cost. So I'm going to turn this one off, and I'm literally just going to double down on this one, which is just launched, and this one. So now I've just turned off my underperforming ads. And then when you find a winning ad, for example, in my case, if I click into this ad that's doing pretty well, it's got 5 leads. If I show you the creative, so here, this ad is the one that is performing. Then all I would then need to do is make new angles of this ad. So I can get this ad, put it into ChatGPT, and the same process applies. So the cool thing is once you find an ad that works, you then double down on that ad and then just make more variations of the winning ad. Okay, so I need a prompt to help replicate this exact ad creative as it's performing best for my client. Now, again, I know this is a different industry to my initial remodeling agency that I'm currently building out with you now, but I think you get the point here because my actual agency is obviously in the medical space. So here, it's basically made me a prompt that I can now get that prompt, go ideogram, because again, ideogram's a lot quicker. It can generate 4 images at a time. I can put this in, click generate, and what it's going to do is it's now going to give me variants of the winning ad, so I can now upload more variants of the winning ad. And that's all it really is when it comes to Facebook ads. It's so easy. You turn off the ads that have got too high of a cost per lead, double down on the ones with a low cost per lead or the lowest cost per lead, and then make new variations of the winning ad. So in my case here, you can now see that I've just made a bunch of different ads. And if I wanted to make any revisions to that, I can totally do it by just saying remix, prompt, whatever the hell that may be. But you can see it's just gone ahead and replicated those ads and give me 4 different variants that I can download and input into the ads manager. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. So tying back to what I was saying here is, again, 4 reasons why clients don't get results, and we have a number of different levers that we can pull to solve each problem. Now, typically, if the cost per lead is too high, all you need to do is turn off the underperforming ads, double down on the winning ad. If no ads are winning at all, then try a complete new wave of ad creatives. The main things that are going to move the needle when it comes to a client not getting results on Facebook ads is going to be the offer that you're running and the ad creatives. So to fix this, what we first do is we change their creatives by repeating the process as we did in onboarding, and literally as I just showed you then, by looking at what other people are running and modeling them using ideogram and launching them. The anomaly to that is obviously if you have one of your ads that are winning, you simply can just screenshot it, put it into ChatGPT, say, give me a prompt to replicate this, and then it will create 4 different variants. And when we find an ad that outperforms others, we simply double down on that ad and turn the others off. Okay? Now, if booking rate is the problem, meaning we're getting a lot of leads, but nobody is booking. Now, rule of thumb is if you're taking a deposit, you want to be aiming anywhere from like a minimum of a 10% appointment booking rate, meaning 10% of the leads that opt in are going to book an appointment. So if I have 100 leads, 10 of them should book an appointment with a deposit. If you're not taking a deposit, and again, this is going to be completely dependent on the industry, but ballpark, you should be aiming for at least a 30%, meaning 30 out of 100 leads are going to book an appointment. If that's the problem, then we need to first double check the calendar is working, the client has enough availability over the next 7 to 10 days, and the booking bot is booking people correctly, sending the right messages. And if all of this is true, this is the point where you may want to consider having somebody call your leads to increase conversion rate. And this is more of an advanced fulfillment model, but it can 100% help get clients better results. But it's not needed to get your first 5 clients. I want to preface this. When I first started my agency, that's what I did. I was the one calling my client leads. Now, finally, when it comes to client communication, the key to retaining clients and keeping them paying is 2 pillars. Client retention falls on 2 pillars. If you don't know what I mean by client retention, that means how you can keep the clients that you acquire, okay? And there's 2 pillars that your client retention stands on: results and relationship. And that means communicating with your client in the right way is as important as getting them killer results. And the secret sauce to building a strong relationship is simply just over communicating with your clients. And we do this by, number 1, having bi-weekly calls with the client to go over results, and also going over what we're doing to improve results.